Hey now, ladies and gentlemen. Hey now. Welcome to hour number two of the line. Talk 99.5, talk99.5.com, Andrew McLean, who.com, and Real Talk 99.5 TV on the YouTube. Y'all go check that out. Check it out. And the Talk 99.5 app. Download that bad boy, Cools. Download that. And get up in the cut. Because if you got the app, that means you got the YouTube on there. You can listen live. You can watch live. It's all right there in one convenient spot. That's what I love about the app. Is you can literally pull up the app and watch us. You don't even have to do a bunch of searching on YouTube. You can just be right there. So, y'all hook that up. Hook it up. All right, let's start this hour off with Cover All RV Services. Cover All RV, my boy Dylan, out there doing his thing, man. This is for you RV people. If you got an RV, you got a camper, a pop-up, whatever it is, it's summertime, man. It's pretty much it's June 1st. It's summertime, and you want to get out there and do your camping and do some traveling to the lake, traveling across the country, and all this other stuff. Got to make sure that camper's in tip-top shape. Maybe you got an RV sitting on your property that hasn't worked in years, and you'd like to get it up and running. Dylan can do that. And the beauty of it, he comes to you. He comes to your place, to your RV, to your camper, and fixes it on the spot. You don't have to bring it to him. He comes to you. He brings all his tools and his guys and everything he needs to get the job done and gets it hooked right on up. You ain't going to find that service anywhere else. Call Dylan. Make sure you let him know I sent you. Remember, he's a good friend of mine, so I know he's going to take care of you. His number, write this down. Put it in your phone, 205-224-2268. That's 205-224-2268. And on Facebook, Cover All RV Services. You can find them there and send them a message as well. Let's go Clarissa up first. Clarissa, how are you?
Hey, Andrew, can you hear me okay? I'm in the car.
Yes, and loud and clear.
Okay, awesome. So I'm driving back to Birmingham from Washington, D.C., and this was my third visit. I was there this weekend. I had to drop my daughter off for her summer internship. And I got to tell you, the vibe and the scenery was much different. It was so clean. The city was sparkling. The city was electric with a buzz for the 250th birthday. It was like Christmas Eve waiting for Santa Claus. I mean, there's so much hustle and bustle going on, getting ready for the 50th anniversary. The patriotism was intense. And I know last week y'all had talked about going to visit you, Trish and John Bird. Y'all should totally go. It was really electric.
That's exciting. I saw a video of a lady who was basically awestruck as she was going around Washington, D.C. I don't know if she lives there or maybe she visits there often. She was awestruck realizing what they had done to the Columbus Circle fountain in D.C.
Right.
She was saying, this is crazy. And she says, I'm from this area. I've never seen it like this. It's so blue. It's bouncing off the white marble. I've never seen the marble this clean before. She's like, it smells good. It's like everything. It's like a whole new world, even for the people that live in D.C. And so that's encouraging to hear, man. That's great.
There was hardly any homeless people anywhere. Everybody walking around with like flag, stuff on their clothes. There was an African American friend that was selling MAGA hats right outside the gate of the White House. It was just so patriotic, and there was a lot of international tours. We saw like a lot of Chinese tours that were coming through and other nationalities and stuff. But anyway, I've got to go back 2 more times this summer. But anyway, I just wanted to report back because I know you guys had said sure go for the 250th anniversary.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like it'd be amazing. Well, good stuff. I appreciate the update on that.
Yeah, no problem. Y'all have a great day.
All right, we'll see you. Yeah, so it's amazing to me. So you gotta understand. Yes, Donald Trump has directed a lot of this stuff to be cleaned up around D.C., but also D.C. is run by a Democrat. Like the mayor's a Democrat. It's Muriel Bowser, and she has, to her credit, she has not been the best mayor of D.C., obviously. I often think about the video of her and Anthony Fauci going around Washington, D.C. to some of these lower income housing projects and knocking on doors trying to convince people to take the COVID vaccine, and those people shunning them away and saying, dude, we're not taking your experimental vaccine, which is some great footage, by the way. But anyway, Muriel Bowser has not been, has not been a good mayor overall, including her role in January 6th and everything else. But I have watched her over the past few months, her willingness to work with Donald Trump to help Washington, D.C., and it has benefited her greatly. Like, this could, if she has ambitions of staying mayor of D.C., she's probably got a good shot. Because in these kind of cases, right, with what Clarissa is seeing, with what this lady on this video is seeing, like, everybody likes that. Not just Republicans. Democrats like that kind of stuff as well. They like a clean city. They like not being harassed by homeless people on their way to work. They like not stepping on needles and doo-doo and having to deal with, potholes and nasty streets and grime and crime and whatever else. Everybody likes to not have to deal with that. And it's amazing to me that in all of these other cities, major cities around the country, where dilapidation has been the name of the game, cities that are run by Democrat mayors, they don't want this, right? They don't want this for their cities. They don't want this for themselves. Of course, they don't have to deal with it directly. They live in the nice parts of town. Those parts of towns get cleaned up. Friends and family of those in power, they get their parts of the city cleaned up. There was a example of, I think it was Marshawn Lynch, and I don't know if it was in L.A. He was living somewhere in California, and some homeless people had posted up out front of Marshawn's house. And within hours, Marshawn gets a call in to Gavin Newsom, and it gets cleaned up, and they run these homeless people off. So as long as you're part of the clique, as long as you're in the circle, your area is going to be nice and clean. But for everybody else in the city, and so it's amazing to me that Democrats don't want that, because yes, it's not something they care about, but what they do care about is staying in power. And this would be a simple way to stay in power, by just the simple act of cleaning up your cities and keeping everybody happy, right? Cleaning up the crime, cleaning up the graffiti, cleaning up the trash, cleaning up the homelessness, cleaning up the drugs. And instead they embrace that stuff, and they allow their cities, once beautiful cities, to be ruined. It's crazy. It's crazy. They don't want this. But that's just how they're wired, man. That's just how they're wired. EC's on the line. EC, what's up?
Hey, man, how you doing today?
What's up, buddy?
I was wanting to ask you and the viewers or the listeners to, if you know anything about Section 224 of the NDAA, the National Defense authorization act that's upcoming in Congress, whereas, defense spending and all that. Are you familiar with 224?
Is it something about Israel and the Israeli military?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you've brought that up 2 or 3 times on the show. So yeah, we're familiar.
Well, this is a new one. The last one got shot down. That was HR 8445, whereas they wanted to give Israeli soldiers the same exact benefits as our soldiers, even though they're a foreign country. But this one allows Israel to be a joint in AI, joint in everything our military does, develops and buys and whatever, be a joint effort. And I don't think any country should be involved like that. You got Israel that won't even admit that they have nuclear weapons. They won't even admit to the world they have nukes. Yes or no? They won't admit. And plus, you got a leader, Bibi Netanyahu, that's an indicted war criminal. And people say, that's no big deal. It don't mean nothing. But he's indicted. This guy, a lot of countries won't even allow him in Europe. You understand? It makes sense.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of countries that don't like our president either. But I mean,
But why?
and this is, I mean, listen, this is the same thing that you brought up last time you called. I mean, we discussed it, and I haven't read the legislation myself, but I'll look into it and form an opinion. I mean, if it looks like it's something
Yeah.
that's going to be detrimental, I'll obviously call it out. But I take things on a case by case basis. I don't always.
I like our viewers.
Yeah,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
well, I'm just saying I take things on a case by case basis. That's why some days I'm accused of carrying water for Israel, and then other days I'm accused of supporting Hamas. I'll look at it and just I all I can do is look at it and see if it's detrimental to the U.S. and to our sovereignty. I'm going to call it out, but I don't know
Well, we
anything
should
about
look
it yet
into
or
it.
what kind of support it's got.
Yeah, I like our viewers to do it. Everybody can Google Section 224 and make up their own opinion. That's all I'm asking. There's a lot of flack, bipartisan flack from Congress that it's giving away too much. You can't trust down the road what Israelis are going, who their new leader's going to be. They've got Bibi's pretty radical as it is, and that he's not well liked around the world. Well, the UN don't want to have nothing to do with him. He's Europe won't, like I said, they won't even allow him in some of them countries without arresting him. I mean, they flat out said they'll arrest him if he lands in their territory. And why do we want to give a country like that all of our top secret stuff, stuff that our kids are going, lives may revolve defense, defending them and stuff. Why would we give any country that much leeway or that much?
Well,
intelligent?
and I don't think we should be giving any country any of our top secret stuff. I don't care who it is.
That's what
but
it is.
I'll look into it and then I'll form an opinion on it. But
read on it, my friend. I'll talk to you later. Okay, you have a good
all right,
afternoon.
DC.
Okay,
I appreciate it. Here's the thing about Netanyahu, and I don't despise Netanyahu, but I'm not a Netanyahu fanboy either. I'm just kind of in the middle. He's kind of a politician to me, like many of these people are, and in most cases with politicians, I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. But at the same time, the UN or these global organizations saying Netanyahu is a war criminal and he's not allowed to go here, there, or the other doesn't mean squat to me, because I don't trust these globalist organizations. I don't trust the International Criminal Court, just like I don't trust the WHO or any of these other globalist, groups that basically want to, that have proven themselves to be groups that want to keep America at the back of the line and make at the same time, while keeping us at the back of the line, they want us paying all their bills. Like, screw those guys. I don't care what they think about anybody. Like, I'm not, I got nothing for them. But with that said, I'll look into it and I'll form an opinion. 205-545-9959. 9950. More of the line coming up right after this. Okay. So it didn't take me long to look into Section 224, and I think I've got the gist of it. And again, until this, usually when it comes to stuff like this and proposed bills or uh, whatever in Congress, it may pop up on my radar, but I don't really start paying attention to it because there's so much stuff until it starts to gain some support. And I don't see anything that shows this has overwhelming support, at least yet. Maybe it will. Who knows? But it Section 224 doesn't seem to change a whole lot. And let me kind of explain why. So it's for the House Armed Service Committee's 2027 fiscal year 2027 National Defense Authorization Act. It's called the United States Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. And its core provision from what I can see here is fairly simple. It basically requires the Secretary of Defense to designate a single executive agent, so like a point man inside the Pentagon, to coordinate and synchronize existing U.S. Israel Defense Technology Cooperation. So, what this covers is what they say is bilateral research, development, testing, evaluation, integration, and industrial cooperation across areas like AI, quantum, autonomous systems, cyber, directed energy, biotech, and stuff such as that. Basically, working on things together. It creates the designated DoD point person to streamline joint work like building on long-term standing programs like the Missile Defense Code Development, which is the Iron Dome. It encourages uh, co-production, licensing, joint ventures, network integration, and data fusion. Uh, there's nothing in here that I see, and this is kind of what I was looking for. I don't see anything in here about sharing U.S. top secret intelligence with Israel. Now there is lots of intelligence that goes back and forth, but at the same time, there's stuff that neither of us share with each other because we spy on each other, just like we spy on everybody, which is what you would not want to see when it comes to an ally. And I don't like that, but it's just the reality of the world. Um, if you look at it, it says the text in it focuses on defense technology cooperation, which is not raw intelligence. So the U.S. Israel intelligence sharing has existed for decades through established channels like, a Mossad CIA liaison, counterterrorism, Iran related intel. And all of this is governed by U.S. classification rules, which prevents it from being shared with other countries. But, you know, we'll look further into it. We'll see what happens with the support on it. And if it turns out to be a bigger deal than it seems and what quick research I've done on it, it doesn't come off as necessarily a cause for concern yet. But as these things move through committees and everything else, people start adding stuff and things become clearer. So I'll keep an eye on it. I'll at least tell you that much. I don't see anything in here that shows me that there's top secret intel being shared with Israel, and then we're just giving up all of our, all of our, advantages or whatever we have over anybody else. I don't see that in this particular bill. But with that said, it's whatever. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. 205-545-9950. I'm running behind, but I got your phone calls on the other side. I see you guys waiting. 205-545-9950. You can call it in or you can text it in. I was watching also some bizarre footage of a situation in New York where like 2 a.m. there were 6 individuals emerging from a manhole just kind of out of nowhere. They were down there, I guess, for 2 or 3 hours, and people don't know what they were doing. That seems a little shady. I would dare say New York probably needs to get to the bottom of that. We'll talk more about that next. All right, so I'll say this. That's all I'm going to say about it. But so where 224 formalizes, and even I guess in some cases, just based on the text, expands technology cooperation, there would be some risk in there, as there probably is with everything. But most of it would come from, I mean, obvious things like influence or dependency, and we're completely against dependency. Countries depending on us, especially countries that can handle their own, and Israel can do that at this point. And you remember, it wasn't that long ago, Netanyahu did some interview and says he wants to eliminate the need for military support from the U.S. Now, you can believe him or not believe him, and I don't, I mean, I don't have any reason to believe any politician until they show me that they're telling the truth. That would be great if he is in fact serious about that. But dependency is a bad thing in a lot of cases. But some of the risk, I guess, would be, leakage of information, such as this research that would be going on. If it's poorly implemented, if you're adding in another layer of information going back and forth, you do run the risk of that information leaking, and you would never want that to happen. But that all depends on execution and how they go about this, if in fact this ever even passes. But it does not involve or force top secret intel dumps, not according to the text of this thing. Whether it strengthens or weakens the U.S., I couldn't tell you. I think a lot of it, again, depends on execution, oversight, alignment of interest. It's and as far as the net value of it and whether or not it benefits the U.S. or benefits Israel, benefits both, or doesn't benefit us, I think is up in the air. But that'll all come out in the wash as we move forward. It's early on in that, so we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. All right, 205-545-9950. 545-9950. Bring it on in. Bring it on in. I guess since we're talking about Israel, before I talk about the manhole thing, which was kind of weird, they had Israel Day, I guess the Israel Day parade in New York, which I have no problem with. They have Puerto Rican Day or Mexican Day or Italian Day or what, New York is historically known for, because there's such a diverse community in there. They have all these different, days and parades and all this kind of stuff for people to celebrate their heritage or their culture. And, I think there's no problem with that whatsoever. I would hope all those people that are in this country, citizens of this country, are proud to be American first and foremost, but I don't see anything wrong with honoring your heritage and having a parade for it. I mean, it's not that big of a deal to me. So same goes with Israel Day. As people that are Jews or they're from Israel or they've got parents or grandparents or their lineage is from Israel, celebrate it. And a lot of the New York politicians were there. You had who did I say? You had Kathy Hochul was there. You had NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch joined the parade. Former Mayor Eric Adams was there. Michael Bloomberg was there. And they were all celebrating Israel Day. But one person that was ironically missing from all of that was one socialist mayor Zoran Mamdani. He decided, the sitting mayor decided he wasn't going to go. And what's crazy to me is that there's been accusations of Zoran Mamdani being anti-Semitic from the jump, and some people will say, well, it's just because he's Muslim and you just assume that. I don't know, and I don't like calling people anti-Semitic because I think the term anti-Semitic has been ruined because people have overused it and called anybody that they don't like what they're saying anti-Semitic. It's much like what happened with the term racism. Like, it used to hold this meaning, and because the left decided to start calling everybody racist for everything, it lost its sting. But there might be some truth to it with Mamdani if he couldn't simply, as the sitting mayor of New York City, couldn't show up for the Israel Day Parade. And instead, and it wasn't like he was in some high-stakes meeting or feeding the homeless or whatever. No, he was apparently riding around the city on a bike in a suit and no helmet, in case any of you safety Nazis are worried about that. He had no helmet on. He was seen without a bike helmet, ignoring basic safety, and serving as a terrible role model for children, despite having only recently touted the importance of bike safety. Apparently, he did a video recently talking about how important bike safety was. But yeah, instead of going to the parade, he was just kind of perusing the city on his bike in a full-blown suit and tie. So he was busy. I think that says a lot, personally, if you ask me. I think that speaks volumes. Again, I'm not a fan of calling people anti-Semitic, but I think you could probably draw the conclusion that he really doesn't like the Jews. Which is, a big problem in the Muslim community. I mean, that's a battle that's just about as old as time. So it's not like it's anything new. It's not like anybody should be shocked by it. And there's the difference, and that's where anti-Semitic comes in. And I'm not trying to get into this discussion, but there's a difference between being anti-Semitic, which would be hating people for being Jewish, hating Jews, if you will, and being critical of Israel's government. Those are two very different things, and somehow we have just blurred the lines on those, and nobody can apparently tell the difference between the two. But, I think Mamdani's probably both, if I had to guess. Anyway, let me get to this whole weird thing with the the manholes. This was bizarre to me. So, 7 men climbing out of a New York City sewer. First of all, sounds like an episode of the Ninja Turtles, which I absolutely loved when I was a kid. I was all about them. It was Ninja Turtles and Power Rangers. Those two were my jam. It says viral video swept the internet last week, courtesy of Flatbush Scoop, whatever that is, showcasing the exact setup. It says shocking footage. Breaking story in Flatbush. Oh, I guess that's the area that it's in. A bizarre and developing situation is unfolding on McDonald Avenue between Kings Highway and Avenue S near Kosher Corner Supermarket. The video shows approximately 6 individuals emerging from a manhole at around 2 a.m. after reportedly spending nearly 2 hours underground, with the cover closed and a person standing watch nearby. A massive NYPD investigation is now underway, and the entire area has been closed off as authorities work to determine exactly what happened. So that is kind of bizarre, because you got to wonder Like, were these individuals? And in watching the video, I can't really tell much about the individuals, like who they are or what they look like, but you got to be concerned with public safety, I would imagine, that making sure that they weren't placing bombs or anything like that. Says the video shows that though it appears that there were 7 individuals, not 6, to ultimately emerge from the sewer. Initially, the video showed what appeared to be the aforementioned spotter wearing a white shirt standing by a trio of vehicles. He then walked over to the manhole in question and appeared to give some sort of signal. At that point, 7 individuals all crawl out of the sewers, with the first one physically moving the manhole cover near the cars. Even more bizarre, several of the men then immediately began to strip down, and the video cut out shortly thereafter. And so, and for obvious reasons, the internet had a field day with this. People saying those boys are doing some Ocean's 11 type things down there. Oh, there's a Ninja Turtle reference. Well, that's good. According to the New York Post, local authorities were treating this much more seriously. The outlet reported that the New York Police Department formally launched an investigation into the bizarre viral video. That investigation apparently involved sending one of their own men down there, down the sewer, though nothing concrete appears to have materialized from that venture. No arrests have been made either. Maybe they were just hanging out, man. Maybe they were just throwing some dice or playing cards or doing something illegal in New York, like, I don't know, using plastic straws or whatever. I don't know. Whatever's illegal in New York. Maybe they were down there eating meat. It's got to be pretty unsanitary down there, though, right? Also, I watched a video not long ago that was talking about the steam in New York that comes out of these manholes. And I guess I always assumed that was the sewer. I don't know if I got that from Ninja Turtles or whatever. But it turns out that that's what's coming out of the manholes, coming from the manhole covers, are not like, I figure it was like, doo-doo steam or something, I'm thinking a sewer. It's got sewer stuff in it, like, where people go to the bathroom. But apparently that's not what that is, which is good, because if that steam's just constantly coming up, you would imagine the place smells horrible. And I've been to New York, and I don't remember it smelling like doo-doo, although it was like, 20 years ago. Yeah, I think I went like 2010 or something like that. Apparently it's steam. Something to do with the power plants, and they use the steam to create power and something. I don't even remember what the video said, but I just remember it said it wasn't doo-doo steam. And so that's good news, I guess, for New Yorkers. So in case you ever wondered about that, now you know. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to teach everybody. 205-545-9950. Do I got to take a break? Is it? Oh, it's time for a break? Okay. I completely lost track of where I'm at. So let me hit this break. 205-545-9950. More of the line right here on Talk 99.5. Coming up next. Between the text line and people actually texting me, everybody's talking about doo-doo steam now. So that's going to be the word of the day. And if I had something to give away, that would actually be the keyword. That would be like, to win tickets, text doo-doo steam to the hotline and win your tickets. First person to text doo-doo steam. I legit thought that's what it was. I mean, what else? What else would it be? You know, just regular steam. It's a sewer. And that's where doo-doo hangs out. All right, let's see. Let me tell you about ProLift Garage Doors. ProLift Garage Doors. I've been telling everybody about ProLift, by the way, because I had somebody brought up to me the other day. They said, hey, I know so-and-so's got a situation with their garage door. And I'm like, well, I know the person that can get that fixed for you. Because these things happen, man. It's just like anything else at your home. It just sometimes after so long, it just breaks or it goes out. It's most of the time, there's so many things about being a homeowner that you just don't think about until it breaks. You know, you don't think about this. And some of it, there's not really maintenance to do with particular things. I mean, with your garage door, what kind of maintenance do you do to your garage door? You don't really. You open it and you close it, and that's it. That's what it's there for. And after so long, it gets old and worn out, and it just kicks the bucket. Maybe, and it could be something simple. You know, you could have, chains breaking, the motor could go out. You may just have whatever. Of course, I'm not a garage door expert, but my buddy Mike Miller is. So if you got anything garage door related, from your regular 2-car garage to your big roll-up doors to whatever, Mike has got you covered. He'll come out there, give you an estimate for free. Tell him you're part of the 99.5 family. He'll get you hooked up, man. He's got all the access to all the new stuff. Even if it's something simple, like you just need some panels replaced on the door, or you need a whole redo of the whole thing, he can get you hammered out. So give him a call. Make sure you let him know I sent you. 205-346-8465. That's 205-346-8465. And online, ProLiftDoors.com. That's ProLiftDoors.com. And get yourself hooked up, man. Y'all need to take care of the garage doors. You don't want to be stuck in the garage, or you don't want to be stuck outside the garage. And those garage doors are heavy, so don't get yourself stuck. So there's that going on in New York. Must be something in the water in the Northeast, which this has always been a thing. But people act wacky in that region, and maybe it's just the liberalism. You know, these are blue cities and blue states. You had the ICE protest over the weekend in New Jersey at ICE detention facilities. This one I'm looking at is actually the ICE detention facility in Newark. We saw some of that. We saw the amazing video of protesters and politicians outside of the one in New Jersey that were protesting, and then all of a sudden the gate opens and a couple Hispanic guys come walking out, and they just kind of walk past the crowd and down the street, and the crowd of protesters start cheering, and they're like, oh yeah, they let them free, they let them go, yeah. And the workers, the employees behind the gate on the other side, they were like, those guys work here, you dumbasses. They're not detainees. They're not illegals. They actually work here. Y'all think they're illegal just because they're brown? That's kind of racist. Oh, it was so funny. It was so funny. But anyway, lots of those protests were going on over the weekend. I saw one guy. There was video of this one protester laying on the ground, and he got shot in his wee willie winker by, I guess, maybe a pepper bowl or something. Somebody was videoing him, and he was laying on the ground. And he was like, "They shot me in my D," and he shows the hole in the crotch of his pants where they shot him. I'm like, oh, that's God. And of course, one guy, I don't know if he's the guy holding the camera or not. He's like, "Is it still there though?" He was very concerned about that for whatever reason. I don't know why he'd be concerned. But that was good footage. And then also there was a group of detainees at the Delaney Hall ICE detention facility in Newark that have apparently gone on hunger strike. That's right. Detainees in Newark, New Jersey, now that they see the support and the protest outside the windows, I guess, they said they're going on a hunger strike, which to me sounds like taxpayer dollars being saved. It says a group of detainees at the ICE detention facility reportedly went on a hunger strike. During an appearance on MS Now, Democrat Representative Rob Menendez of New Jersey blamed the Trump administration, ICE, and private detention contractors for conditions inside the facility. Menendez claimed detainees were being held in inhumane conditions and described stories involving pregnant women, elderly detainees, medical concerns, and family members worried about loved ones inside. The segment focused heavily on emotion. Viewers heard about a pregnant wife, a 10-year-old daughter, mothers missing Mother's Day, and detainees who say they want their stories told. Yet, when we actually get footage of these detention centers, they always look really nice for some reason.